My journey began. It's graduation time. Family is very important to me, including my puppies. The Marine Corps played a huge role in my life and allowed me to be ambitious, inspiring, a mentor, and achieve all of my goals. As a financial expert, I've received multiple awards, done various events as a guest speaker all over the U.S. with my platform of creating healthy financial habits, along with having my own business, all leading up to my show. Come along for the journey.
Hello, Gems, and welcome to the show. We are celebrating Hispanic Latino heritage for the month of September. These are uplifting stories from people in the community you are sure to make a connection with. Here are a few fun facts about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is located in the northeastern Caribbean Sea. It's roughly 70 miles east of the Dominican Republic and 40 miles west of the British and the US Virgin Islands. To put it in comparison, Puerto Rico is roughly the size of Connecticut. Still, in terms of population, it has the third highest density in the US, just after Washington, D.C. and New Jersey. Puerto Rico is a commonwealth governed by the United States and is therefore not a sovereign state. Puerto Rico still competes as an independent nation in the Olympics and Miss Universe, as well as in many other international events. Regarding Miss Universe, Puerto Rico has won the title 5 times. Those gorgeous beauties come from that beautiful island that we all love. Yes, they do. All right, number 3, Puerto Ricans are US citizens. Even though Puerto Rico is a US territory, they can't vote for president or vice president of the United States unless they have moved permanently to the US state. Also, Puerto Rico does not have a vote in the US Congress. Number 4, Puerto Ricans can have 2 citizenships, one in the US and one in Puerto Rico. Even though they are citizens of one country, this is due to Puerto Rico's Commonwealth status, where it is neither a state nor an independent country. So they kind of fluctuate between the both, and they have the best, literally, of both worlds. US citizens do not need a passport to visit Puerto Rico. That's right. You just hop on that plane, go and enjoy the beautiful, beautiful beaches and the people there. Number 6, Puerto Rico is considered the world's oldest colony, founded by Christopher Columbus in 1493. San Juan is the oldest European city under the American flag. Number 7, the world's largest rum distillery is in Catano, Puerto Rico. I visited there. That's all y'all need to know. Loved it. The famous Casa Bacardi is the largest rum distillery in the world. It produces more than 100,000 liters of rum every 24 hours, contributing nearly 85% of Bacardi's total rum production. Number 8, the pina colada, we like pina coladas, was invented in San Juan in 1954 by Ramon Mochito Morero, while working as a bartender at the Caribe Hilton. He said it on a recipe, he said, captured the true nature and essence of Puerto Rico. Love it. Number 9, Spanish and English are the official languages of Puerto Rico. Spanish has been Puerto Rico's official language since it was colonized in the 15th century. On the other hand, English was first introduced as an official language by the end of the 19th century when the United States occupied the island during the Spanish-American War. Even though English is an official language, Puerto Rico is overwhelmingly Spanish-speaking. You'll come across people who speak a mixture of both, also known as Spanglish. We all love our Spanglish. And finally, number 10, fun fact in Puerto Rico coffee is among the best in the world. Among the best Puerto Rican coffee you can find today are Alto Grande Premium Coffee, Cafe, starts with a J, Zocono, Volcanilla, Puerto Rico coffee, and Cafe Rico. I've had Cafe Rico before, and I'm not a coffee drinker, but it is definitely smooth and worth the taste. Now, for today's guest, he was born in the Bronx. Give it up. New York, and lived there until he was 5 years old, then moved to Puerto Rico. He honorably served in the Army for 15 years and 9 months. He joined in 2004 and retired on December 2019. His occupation was the 63 Bravo now, which is considered a 91 Bravo, which is a wheeled mechanic. He later changed his job to a 92 Mike, which is mortuary affairs specialist, the same occupation that I have in the Marine Corps. Love it, love it. When he was growing up, he wanted to be in the medical field. He wanted to become a doctor and was in a nursing program before joining the Army. 3 words to describe himself are energetic, helpful, and happy. He currently resides in Prince George, Virginia. Jim, let's give a warm welcome to Alexander Olivieri-Rodriguez, the owner and CEO of Woodpeckers. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me over.
Thank you. It's so much love Puerto Rico. I visited there, and every time I go, I have a wonderful time. So
Awesome.
very happy to have you on the show today.
I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a lot of things to cover, and I know my gems are eager to learn more about you. So you have a very interesting and funny story on how you ended up in the Army. So tell us how that happened. Yeah, I know. Everyone has a story. Yours is, I think it's funny.
Whew. Yeah, mine's a little bit out there. When I first, before I even joined the military, I was the type of person that I was like, no, I will never join the military. Oh no. It's just the dumbest way to die, because that's the perception that people,
Right.
put on the military. All you do to do in the military is infantry, that's it, and you get killed.
Right.
So unfortunately, with that mentality in mind, I was like, nope, I will never join the military. But my best friend, he wanted to join the military. So I was like, dude, you're dumb. Get that out of your mind. But he's like, no, I want to go. But man, can you take me there? Because my dad has my car. I was like, sure, I'll take you. And I took him to the recruiter station. It was like a 10-minute drive. So when we got there, he's taking the practice ASVAB test that they give you at the recruiter station. And neither him or neither one of us knew any English whatsoever. I barely knew how to say sandwich, hamburger, and that's about it. So, he's taking the test. I'm here waiting, throwing my thumbs. And then he finished. They give him the score. He got like 6 answers right out of the whole test. And it's probably going to be like, your college level test where you get 4 points for putting your name.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, that test cannot be that hard. Either you are extremely dumb or this test is hard because neither one of us knows English.
Right.
So I was like, and the recruiter's like, you want to take us? I was like, sure. I just want to check it out, just to prove a point. So I took the test. I passed it with flying colors. Needless to say, the recruiters all over me was like, man, we got this job. I'm like, no. I told you to begin with that I didn't want to join no military. I'm just here to bring him recruiters, they're sweet talkers. So I go like, well, we got these benefits. We can pay for your college tuition. We can give you a signing bonus. I'm like, tempting. Needless to say, here I am. I did almost 16 years in the military. Now I'm retired, and I did 4 tours, 1 to Kuwait, 2 to Iraq, and 1 to Afghanistan. And I do not regret this decision whatsoever. If I were ever to repeat, my whole life again, I would take the exact same steps because I wouldn't have what I have now if it wasn't for the military.
Love it, because you joined in 2004 and you really hit on a key thing. You knew little to no English when you joined the Army. So tell us how you overcame. It was 0. You like, Joel, no, not little to none, like 0. We put that 0 up there, 0. So what was that like overcoming those barriers? Because now you're really thrown into an environment. Like in 2004, we weren't as, multicultural as we are now when it comes to language, when it comes to everything. So what was that like?
It was interesting. It was definitely interesting, especially the good part about the military, especially the Army. I don't know if any other branches has this program, but the Army, they send you to the English school before sending you to basic. But before going to basic, you got to go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma to pick up your uniform. So you spend like 2 weeks there surrounded by drill sergeants and everything. And everybody's like, yes, sir, sergeant. And I'm like, what's a drill sergeant? What are you talking? And I know I still have an accent. But back then, my accent was horrible. So I was like, "Wait, this is yeah, you know, and that was literally, I'm not even exaggerating. That was literally my accent back then. You know, and it was difficult, you know, especially Jerusalem will come yelling at me and I have no clue what they're yelling at me about. And I'm like, ESL, you know, with that's English second language. So they know I don't know any English whatsoever at that point. So they were looking at me, they're like, and they would just walk away. You know, so it was interesting at first, you know. Obviously, then I go to the English school, you know, and all they do is give you the basic conversational, you know, stuff. That way you can survive in the military, you know. So as soon as I finished the school, I went to basic, you know, and by that time I was already militarized, you know. It was hard. It was different. The good thing about me is I'm the kind of person that I don't quit.
Yes.
You know, like I say, I still have the accent, but it's not as pronounced as like it was in the past. Right. Because a lot of people used to make fun of my accent, and I'm the kind of person I would just laugh with them. I was like, and I would like, how you say it again? Got you. Okay, and I'll keep on repeating it until I got it right.
Yeah.
Like one time I walked into my unit, I was like, anybody see my yake? And everybody's like, what? I was like, anybody see my yake?
Right.
You know, and people was like, what are you talking about? Oh, you know, I was like, my coat, my yake. And I was like, oh, your jacket. I was like, yeah, my yake. Because in Spanish, you know, and English and Spanish is very different, especially like, for example, when you're saying Jaucono, you know, it's spelled with a Y, but it's pronounced with like a J, because the Y's and the J's are backwards. And in Spanish, they sound totally backwards. So I was still coming with that mentality. I would say Yankees and yake, you know, so, you know, it took me some getting used to it. As of today, you know, years and years later, I still put a TH where there's no TH, and my wife makes fun of me, but hey, it is what it is. It's just a learning process.
And look at you now. I mean, I was even like, is that how I'm supposed to say it? Because this is your experience coming from all Spanish to English. I mean, if I had to go from all English to and all Spanish, I would probably be just confused and be like, I don't know what I'm saying as well, because it takes time.
And believe it or not, English is my first language.
No.
Because remember, I was born in the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew zero Spanish at all. I didn't know any Spanish whatsoever. But when I moved to Puerto Rico, you know, after my parents died, you know, I moved with my uncles, and I had to learn Spanish. Nobody there knew how to speak English. Right. So I had nobody to practice with. And within a matter of years, it was all gone. You know, when I first moved, you know, if I was hungry, I'd be like, you know, going like this, because nobody could understand me in English.
Right. I get it. And it's one of those things you're on top of. Practice. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. Yeah, it's gone. So what are your top 3 memorable moments in the Army? Because you've done a lot. You have an amazing career. So top 3.
I done some crazy stuff, you know. I'll tell you my number 1, and it's always been my favorite, and obviously is the fact that I was in charge of the color guard here when I was in Fort Lee. And I don't know if it's just part of my culture and everything, but we're extremely proud of everything what we do. We take pride on everything. We like everything dress. And when I was in charge of the color guard, I made sure my team was on point on everything. It was on point. And it ended up paying off, because for every big event, you know, the ones that was like all eyes on us, they will be like, hey, I want Sarno and he's 18. Bam. You know, and we made it to the national television a couple times, to include, you know, we were the color guard that was selected to represent the president of the United States when he came to Fort Lee. You know, President Obama. It was the first living president serving that came to Fort Lee. So for me to be handpicked, and say you need to be there, and represent, I was like, I'll take that. I'll take that. So yeah, that was definitely, that's my top one right now.
Yeah. Number two.
Number two. Another one is as you mentioned earlier, I was a 92 mic. I'm mature first specialist. So definitely, and that goes into the last one as well. Some of the memorable stuff is the type of the job that we do. Is a unique job. It's a unique field. It puts a lot of pressure. It puts a lot of toll in you. But sometimes you get those letters from family members. They're like, hey, thanks for everything that you did for my daughter, for my son, because at the end of the day, we're providing closure to those families.
Yes.
And just receiving that letter, it just is, it kind of like transmitted the feeling of that family member to you. So, that's one thing that I would never, ever forget. It's just a great feeling. Obviously we hate people dying. We would love to live in a world that nobody will die, but unfortunately that's part of life. It's part of the circle of life, and somebody has to take care of it. But it's good to know that we did something good for those family members. And then third, once again, as a mortuary first, I was handpicked once again. And so today I am the first and only one certified to be a director for National Cemetery. So what the Army has a program called Training with the Industry. And what they do is for a year, they handpick a certain amount of people from different jobs. And they go like, you are going to go to this civilian entity that has to do with your job. And you're going to be there for a year. You're going to learn everything that they do in your field. And then you're going to come back to the military and bring all that information. That way we can better our procedures. So obviously by being a mortician, I was sent to the National Memorial Cemetery. And I was there for a year. It was an amazing experience, and as of today, I'm still the only one that ever done it.
Bravo! That's awesome. The only one. I love it.
Hopefully they bring the program back, and right now I'm working with Fort Lee so that way more people can actually benefit of this program, because this is an amazing program.
It sounds like an amazing program, and you give so much and you learn so much. So hopefully they'll bring it back so others can benefit from it as well. Yeah. Love it. Love it. So before retiring from the Army in 2019, you launched your business. So how did you come up with this idea? Because you are definitely, what we are learning from you, not a conventional person, but things always seem to work out. So how did this come up? I love this.
So let me tell you about this. So during that time frame, 2015, as we know, between 2012, 2016, 2017, the big push was, the big word in the military was downsizing.
Yes.
That was the big word. If you had any type of issues, and even though if you didn't have any issues whatsoever, they needed to make those numbers smaller. So they were just handing out what we call the pink slip. They're like, here, you got 6 months to get yourself together, and you're out of the military. Regardless of who you are, what you did in the military, it really didn't matter. So I was just laying in bed, gears rolling. It was early in the morning, and I'll wake up. I'm a morning person. My wife's not. I'm the type of person that open my eyes, I'm ready to go. I don't need no energy drinks. I don't need no coffee. I don't need nothing. I'm just power's on.
Right.
So I wake up and I was like, baby, I'm going to open a business. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going to open a business. She's like, what kind of business? I don't know. Engraving, woodworking, something like that. I don't know. And she's like, yeah, have you ever done it? I was like, nope. And what money are you gonna use? Well, next week we get our taxes. So hey, there you go. I'll be looking at some machines, and with those taxes, I can go ahead and buy the basics to start. And my wife, she looks at me like, you are out of your mind. And which I am, I know. But that's how it goes. I bought this little machine. This that you see back here, that was never there. It was nothing but studs. This garage was unfinished.
Right.
So here in the middle of the summer, I'm just dripping sweat. In the middle of the winter, I'm freezing. Like there was no way to stay warm. But hey, I pushed through. Yeah, I pushed through, and here I am. Almost 7 years.
7 years, yeah. So what was the initial investment?
I would say it was around $1,100, give or take. It wasn't much, but it was this at least the essentials to get started, to get my feet wet.
To get your feet wet. And that's what I like for people to know, because, throughout all of my stores, sometimes people think you need 20 grand to get started, and you don't. Yours was just 1,100, like you said, a little bit of tax returns, like, let's just see what I can do. Yeah. Bought the machine out of your garage, and you just literally just willed yourself into your massive empire. So tell us how you came up with the name for your business.
So my business name is Woodpeckers Plaques and Crafts. So as y'all can see, when I was telling my wife about my dream to open a business, I was like engraving, woodworking, stuff like that. I don't know. So that's how we started. My very first machine was a little CNC machine. And I was doing wood carving, and my wife, the good thing about me and my wife, we are a dream team.
Yes.
What I don't do, she does, and what she doesn't do, I do. So we complement each other like really well. So every time I did the carving, she would do the painting, and those things would be like popping, to a point that within a couple months, I was selling stuff that was making it all the way to the Pentagon, in different locations. Yes. So that's how the name Woodpeckers Plaques and Crafts came to be. Since we were doing the wood carving, a couple months later, I was incorporating engraving into the business. I started doing domino tables. I started doing different anything that had to be wood related. Right. I was doing it. But with all my military moves, I have to adapt. I have to upgrade, downgrade. And that's how now we are doing a lot of embroidery. Yeah. Now I decided to keep the name because once we open a shop, which we're in the plans of, once we open that shop, then we bring it back all the stuff that we used to do, like wood carving, engraving, all that stuff. So we'll be a fully functional shop. Then tomorrow I get a 3D printer.
And not the 3D printer.
Oh yeah, I'm always looking, for things to expand. One thing about me is I never settle on anything. Once I'm comfortable in something, then I move to the next step.
Yes.
That way I can continue to grow.
I love it. Growth and not being mediocre. And Woodpeckers was born. Tell us the date, January 29th, 2015, the day after
my birthday.
There you go.
That was my birthday to me.
I like that because that's such a sentimental thing when you started it. So what was the first product that you did? So because I think that's definitely unique too.
Hey, man, I thought I should have had it here. So there was this Sergeant Major rank, Sergeant Major, yes, it was a Sergeant Major rank that I did in a piece of wood. Man, I think it was the hottest thing, the best thing since sliced bread. Man, I look at it now and I'm like, man, what was I thinking making this thing? But I still have it. Actually, I saw it this weekend when I was looking through some stuff. I still have it because at the end of the day, that reminds me of where I started and where I am right now. I see some of the products that I offer now, they're like day and night compared to where I first started. But you have to start somewhere and you have to perfect your craft. You know, if you just see something, you're like, it looks okay. You know, people will buy it anyway. You know, you have that mentality, you're not gonna succeed. You have to be like always looking for ways to better your product, to better your service to people. That way, they always, you know, be like, oh man, this guy is good. You know, right now, when you hear the name Woodpeckers, all you hear is quality behind it.
Quality, and I like that because you started out in the military community, like you said, your stuff was being sold at the Pentagon. You had that in military. We love our plaques. We love anything with wood. We love anything with our name on it, our rank on it. You put those color on it, and we're like, I love it. Give it to me. So definitely a good community to start with. So your business saw growth during COVID. And I did a segment on that because a lot of businesses went out of business, but yours actually saw growth. And what do you attribute that to? And tell us a little bit about that, because that's definitely unique. You need to give yourself a little pat on the back for that. Yes.
No, I'm not gonna lie. You know, when the COVID first started, you know, we got hit like any other business,
right?
Because at the end of the day, you have to put everything on a balance. You know, either buy a hat and a shirt, or you gotta buy your toilet paper and your Lysol wipes and your hand sanitizer. Which one's gonna take priority?
Right.
So obviously, you know, everything started going through your first necessities. So we saw that hit for the first couple months. You know, and you know, it was struggling. Right. But the good thing about us, you know, that saved us is we didn't have a actual retail store.
Right.
And we weren't renting or anything like that. You know, literally my shop is in my garage. I own my house, so you know, I can do anything within my property. So the shop is in the house. So if the shop didn't operate for a month or two, that's fine, you know, because I'm not held to a contract that I have to continue to pay regardless if I make money or not. Right. You know, and unfortunately, that's one of those big bumps that a lot of businesses ran into, because some of the landlords, they're like, hey, I gotta feed my family too. No, you still gotta pay me. I don't care if you make money or not. Right. Unfortunately, that was the situation. So that actually helped me not being in an actual retail store. Right. Obviously we fought through the storm and everything, and once things started to picking up, and I was always also looking for different ways, even during COVID, hey, how can I supplement? So then we started providing mask services. You know, we're making custom masks, you know, so obviously a lot of people needed them. So that was one way that we mitigated, you know, all the losses, you know, that we were receiving. Once everything started coming down little by little, then, you know, start picking up business again. And, you know, obviously there was a lot of recovery still, but nowadays, you know, we're about to just surpass last year's revenue part. So
not only surpass it, you being just modest here. So your first year was 5,000 first year. Now you're into how many figures you into?
Oh, we're in the six figures. That is no argument. You know, hopefully this year we break it around the 200s, and that's just working from my garage. Imagine once I have a shop, which, you know, we're actually in the process of. Today we just received the contract, because we're buying a piece of land where we're actually gonna build, you know, our shop, and not just our shop, but we're gonna actually build more than a shop. We're gonna build space for 3 to 4 different other businesses.
I like it. And you just led right into the next part. So the next steps in your business, you've already started it. So you got the land. So what is this? You're building your empire. You are growing. You're all about growth, movement, forward progress, and upward mobility. So what are those next steps?
So one thing that you learn as a business owner is you have to have multiple avenues of revenue. It's a must if you want to survive. If one goes down, the other one will pick you up.
Yes.
So, that's exactly what, I've been working on. I've been struggling, saving money, having to stop going out as much as I would like to, but it's a sacrifice that is necessary because then later on I'll be chilling. Yeah. So right now, we're in the process of closing on the piece of land. It's about an acre land. It's literally a minute and 45 seconds from the base. So we're gonna have that traffic from the base. And what we're planning to do is we're gonna build a building big enough where it's gonna house obviously my shop.
Yes.
But then I'm also gonna bring a Puerto Rican restaurant, which we are short. There's literally non-existent around here.
Right.
So, and it's extremely large Puerto Rican community here. Not as large as New York, but we're pretty close.
Right.
So I'm bringing up a Puerto Rican restaurant, and then hopefully I will have enough room to house at least one or two different businesses. Right. That way I can rent out. And pretty much that money will self-pay for the entire building.
I love it. A Puerto Rican restaurant.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Right? I love it. I love it.
My wife, she's like, "Oh, we're never gonna lose weight."
That's okay. Dance it off.
We'll be eating there every day.
Yeah, you gotta love what you do. Love what you do. We love you for it. So, speaking of Puerto Rican food and all things Puerto Rico, what does being Puerto Rican mean to you? Woo. Love this. It's celebrating Latino Heritage Month. So, what does this mean to you?
Well, like I said earlier today, Puerto Ricans, we're extremely proud. We're proud of our culture. We're proud of where we come from. We're proud of where have we gone to. Every little success story is huge for us. Regardless of the size, regardless of how big or small the accomplishment one, it was an accomplishment, and that's all that matters. So we are extremely proudful, a culture. I love being Puerto Rican. Yeah. We have flavor, our food, is so flavorful. We have, good music. You're always hearing about Puerto Ricans, and obviously, we're good looking too. So, I can help it. I can help it.
I got my boo. He gonna be like, "What she say? What she say?" That was way back in the day, baby. Way back in the day.
I'm off now. I'm off the market now. But Puerto Ricans, we are extremely proudful culture. We're extremely helpful culture. Yeah. We protect our own. We make sure that everybody gets a piece of bread. We make sure that if somebody has a dream, they can be successful. If somebody's in need, that they're taken care of. We take our share of our bag and give it to them. We really don't care. And that's just how we are, because we know we are leaving our little island to now be amongst a bigger community that we're not as many. So we tend to pretty much magnetize against each other. Like my wife tells me all the time, it's like, hey, if she see me, talk with somebody, like, let me guess, Puerto Rican, because y'all already acting like y'all best friends. I was like, of course, that's how we go. We like Puerto Rico,
right?
Hey! You go over there,
right?
And it's like a half an hour conversation. Like, you know him? I'm like, no, I just met him like 5 minutes ago. It's like, you were talking there for like 2 hours. I was like, hey, that's how we go. That's he ended up living like down the street from me.
That's awesome. And I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. What an amazing story.
No, I appreciate, like I said, once again, I appreciate the invite. I love sharing my story because I hope to be, I wouldn't say a beacon, but I at least somebody to be followed,
Yes.
Hopefully they see all the struggles and all the hurdles that I went through, and they can avoid them. That way they can be as successful or even more successful than I am in much way less time or headaches than I did.
Absolutely. You're definitely a story for the ages and definitely a beacon. I love that. So, gems, it's time for your financial gems. So, your financial gems for today are number one, you never know if you're going to be successful unless you try. Try it. Risk is part of success. Without risk, there's no success. You got to, those two go one in hand. One in hand. I love that. Number two, plan ahead. I'm a planner. I love this one. Starting a business with no plans or realistic expectations will kill your drive and dreams. You probably would spend more time and more money than if you would have had a plan in the beginning. So plan, write it down. I love it. I love it. Number three, surround yourself with people with the same drive as you. Now, this, you have to have it. Yes, you have to have it. Don't surround yourself with people who are naysayers. You can't do that. Or no one in your family's done it before. Or who do you think you are? No. Surround yourself with people with the same drive as you. A support team is worth more than anything. Yes, you got to have that. Number four, know when it's time to expand and allow your business to grow organically based off customer and client and numbers. And you saw how he did that today. They said, okay, we're going through COVID. How can we still keep clients coming and expand? They sold masks. Mask was not part of their original plan, but they're like, hey, customers need masks. We're pretty good with fabric.
Like we say in the military, adapt and overcome.
Adapt and overcome. Absolutely. Learn how to adapt and overcome. It'll keep your business going through all of those highs and those lows. And finally, number five, write your next steps down on paper with realistic timelines and post it someplace where you have to look at it on a daily basis. I cannot say that enough. A lot of times I meet people and they're like, yo, this is what I want to do. 2 weeks later, I'm like, what did you say? And they're like, what are you talking about? Because it is not written down anywhere. It's not coming to fruition because it's not written down where you can see it and believe in it. So gems, it is our show custom to have every guest provide our gems with an inspirational quote. So Alexander, what is your personal inspirational quote you would like to share with us today?
Well, so as we discussed, I like to continue to expand. I'm the type of person that I never sit still. So I always say to everybody, go big or go home. No fuimos grande o no hacemos nada.
I like it.
Go big or go home. You cannot just be in your bubble. You have to get out of that little bubble. You have to get uncomfortable before you get comfortable. Mm-hmm. And then once you get comfortable, get uncomfortable again.
Mm-hmm. You got to shake it up. I love it. I love it. Go big or go home, Jims. You heard it from him, not me, but I co-sign on that. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today and being part of our journey.
Oh, thank you. And I hope that I was an inspiration for a lot of people.
You are an inspiration. So, Gems, creating healthy financial habits is a lifelong commitment. Remember, without change, there'd be no butterflies. Changing habits, changing lives, and changing futures are all up to you. Till next time, Gems, take care. We'll see you next time.
See ya.